Southgate leaves his post as the English national team coach. He decided to leave after an emotional letter to the fans, to the FA, that he cannot continue, that it's time for another person to take over. He has done a lovely job with English team. He took over 2016 and he took England to quarterfinals of the World Cup. He took them to the semi-finals of the World Cup. He took them to back-to-back Euros tournaments. He has done a lovely job, but he said that it's time for him to leave this post and for another person to continue the work he's been doing. So he has left. So I'm here with the guys to talk about all he has done for English, if he deserves to stay or if he deserves to probably leave, because nobody sacked him. He made up his mind to, after this tournament, that he has done his best for the English national team. Now it's time for another person to take over. I am here with John and also to talk about Southgate. Okay guys, Southgate, John. The work he has done in England for the past, 8 years, how would you consider it? Is it a success for you or is it a failure?
Yeah, for me, it's a success any day, anytime, irrespective of fans' reaction, irrespective of critics and the naysayers who have said that the England side have stalled and have not been able to deliver on their glaring potential. Okay, a lot of people, he came under a lot of criticism in the quarterfinals, in the semi-finals, still under a lot of criticism after that loss, a couple of days ago, and now taking the decision to move on. I think it's just to put things in perspective. Southgate is the single let me say a homegrown talent that is managing England's squad for a couple of 2 decades now. Is the English manager managing England for over this period. If you go back, they have over 15 years of international foreign coaches managing the England side. He's a homegrown talent. He's worked in the setup, from the youth setup up to the under-23 setup up to the big team. He's done it all and he's seen it all, and I think he living now is living while the ovation is highest, if you ask me, because what's going to come out is going to be maybe an inquisition into his time, further scrutiny in maybe when he's calling up people into the side, more and more media scrutiny, more and more fans feeling like he isn't doing the right job. They need to bring somebody else in. So it's fine to jump the gun, jump the bullet, and take yourself out of the equation.
Okay, no, so he coached about 102 games. His win rate is almost 60% win rate. Now, do you make of this? Do you see this as a success? He didn't win any trophy, no, so he didn't win any trophy. He didn't bring anything home. But would you consider him? Because if you look at all the England, as John said, all the other coaches before him that had even better stars, they could not do anything.
They couldn't win either. But now,
too. Southgate, how would you consider his tenure as a coach?
Who was England there before Southgate took over? Who was Big Sam?
It's Big Sam. Was Big Sam? Yes.
Sam Allardyce. Who was there before Sam Allardyce?
I think Ericsson.
Now you see the list of coaches. They've been good. They all have a problem with selecting players from the top teams in England. Now Southgate went out of his way to take a Kieran Trippier who was playing at the time at Atletico Madrid. He did a fantastic job going out of the English way to go and bring in Kieran Trippier to compete with Kyle Walker. Now you went all the way to bring in some other players that were not supposed to be in the English side, talking about the likes of Calvin Phillips and other top names that he brought into that side, and you see that they are good players all along. But I believe what makes a coach good is the trophies. Now he didn't get any trophy, but I won't say he was a failure, because it's been like 58 years England has not won anything, and the last time they won one was 58 years ago when they won the World Cups. Now after that they've gone on trophy droughts till this very moment, and they went to 2 Euros finals, which is good. It was a success, but I say this on the show and I'll say it again: if your best is not getting you results,
want to just remove this guy, says
look for another best. And I'm not proud of the way that he is living this period, because he could have at least, maybe this was because if you get to 2 finals, you get to the quarterfinals of the World Cup. Perhaps last time it was the semi-finals, this time around it was the quarterfinals. You get to 2 finals like that, or you get to 2 knockout stages, tough knockout stages. I think you're doing a good job. You should have at least stayed a little.
Oh, but you were rooting for him to.
I was rooting for him.
He was rooting for him to go, for them to sack him, rather than him to honorably resign.
I wasn't looking for a sack. If that's what you think, I wasn't looking for a sack. I was looking for him to resign. but not now. Maybe after the World Cup, because you only have less than 2 years to prepare for the World Cup. The World Cup is around.
And let's not forget that this sets England back for the World Cup too, because whoever is going to come in, we are hearing rumors of Eddie, we are hearing rumors of Potter. Whoever is going to come in is going to take them 2 steps back.
That's the next big thing. 2020. You said this the other day in the morning. I said 2026 is not far. You said it was still far. It's not far. 2026 is just a stone throw away. Before you clap twice, you're already there. So for time travelers though, but for now, for us in this studio, it's still far.
Their next match is in September. They start the National League competition. So the coach probably might use that competition as a preparation.
Now look at it. We have he's had the most time as the manager in England. We talk about the likes of Walter Winterbottom, who had 139 games, was fantastic. During that period, he coached in about 25 or 15 top competitions. At that point, the top. There were no much games to be played. There was no National League. It was just the Euros and the World Cup. So he played about 24 games totally as a coach, top competitions. Then there was Sir Ramsey as well, who coached in 15 top games and 113 tournament and 113 caps as a manager. You look at the records of these two people, they didn't get into the finals. They got into the quarterfinals of the Euros in their time, and they got into, I know about Sam Razi, his record was about the semi-finals of the World Cups, but he didn't even get the trophy at all. Didn't get to the finals, just the quarterfinals of the World Cups and not the Euros. Now Sir Winterbottom, same thing, just quarterfinals, knockout stages in the World Cups and Euros. Now Southgate is getting you to knockout stages in
the finals,
in the newly inaugurated European National Leagues. He got them into I think it was the quarterfinals the last time, where they were knocked out by Netherlands. Now he got them also. They were knocked out by France. He got them into this Euro 2020. They were knocked out by Italy in the finals in penalty shootouts. Now in this current Euro, this just concluded Euros. They lost again to Spain in the finals, which tells you he is building for the World Cup. And this was the same process Argentina went through before they brought in Scolani to get them the trophy. Now, if they had at least waited for him, maybe he would see that 2026 he needed to drop some players and perhaps get them the trophy in 2026. But he is not going to stay till 2026. He needed to club football is getting you minds prepared every time. So I think he wants to go back to club football.
I think it's not necessarily going back to club football.
He's done his best for England.
He's done his best for England, but best aside, there is also the unnecessary scrutiny that he's endured on this job, because let's not forget, English fans are nitpicky about everything. Why did this guy not play? Why is he starting 11? You have a whole list of
every team in England faces that scrutiny.
Every tiny little detail. So
every team in England faces that scrutiny. It's not just about that. It's about his personal ego.
It's on another level
at this point, it's about his personal ego. Because
last week we saw personal stuff about his personal decision-making choice and habits, and these things add up. It may not add up to you, maybe because you're not the one in the hot seat, but it adds up. You look at what Harry Maguire has gone through, being booed by English fans. You look at what's happening in the England setup. So for me, I feel like he's taking the max height of toxicity he can take.
Harry Maguire went through all of that. What's happening this season? It is the same fan base as a singing in praises. Okay, you go through rough edges to get to the very smooth edge.
Now he's left now. The FA says that the process to get a new coach has begun already, because they need a new coach before the
end of July.
No, they said before the September game they have a new coach. So, but we are hearing the name of Pochettino, Klopp. Who do you think is fit? Look, final question now. Who do you think is fit?
The list. There are 10 players on this list, or 10 people. Graham Potter.
Just tell me 3 persons you think that it will be necessary.
There is this person people are not looking at. Graham Potter has done a shambolic work at Chelsea. You don't look his side anymore. There's an Eddie Howe who is doing a fantastic job at Newcastle. Good coach. But you can't take a Jurgen Klopp. You can't, because he says he's going on a sabbatical and he would not have that time. So I think the right person to look at now is someone that has not been in the limelight for a long time. Lee Carson. Yeah, I just said it now, and John is shaking his head and he's like, Southgate was not in the big stages when he was given the job.
Yeah, he from the under 21, they promoted him.
He was coaching. Do you know who he was coaching? Do you know who he was coaching?
When you name the name of the coach you want to take over, you see how far a gulf England have to now start to climb back over again before they get into that.
Who do you think
You can't call in a Frank Lampard. I'm not. You can't call in a Frank Lampard or maybe a Gerrard. So you need to go for a Lee Carson, who is coaching a middle table team, middle-headed. So if the media want to criticize him, they'll say, "Oh, they can give him time." You need a coach that the media would probably give time, not any of these big coaches that they will start immediately and start criticizing.
What do you think, John? Who do you think they should appoint?
If you ask me, I think they should go for Potter or Eddie Howe.
Potter or Eddie Howe. Okay, guys, this is how we are going to be ending this particular show. It depends on what England wants to do. If they want a young coach, an experienced coach, or probably promote somebody from their under-21 to take over the team the way Spain did with their national team. Let's see what happens, but I wish Southgate all the luck and wish him all the best in the near future. See you next time.